Hi, fellow traders. Is my first recap for the month of April, and it is not a good one. I got to say this is probably one of the worst days I've had this month, if not the worst day I've had this month. And I can't say I didn't expect it because when you have 3 months of pretty good action, and even the bad days weren't that bad, you're gonna expect one or two bad days coming up. And it's not so bad. It's just that nothing I traded followed through, nothing I traded worked. And a lot of it was full of my mistakes or my apprehensions. I still go through, and all traders go through that second guessing thing. I mean, you think you see something, and then you're not confident you see it. And smart thing is, don't just click it and hope you're right. The smart thing is don't click it and just be mad at yourself for second guessing yourself. Because when you do that, you stay green anyway, or you stay neutral. In this case, I would have been nice and green had I done what my mind, what I had in my mind to do. Because as a trader, you have a plan, but you need to have a plan both ways. And then you have to be able to adapt your plan to fit what the price action is telling you. Now, if it just makes moves that goes against anything that you want to trade, if it just kills your setup, then no, don't try to trade it. Just because it's going into somebody else's setup, let them trade it. We can't hit 100% of the stocks we trade. We just can't. If we get 65, 70% right, then that's nothing to sneeze at. That's the best we can do. And that's what I shoot for, 65, 70%, and I'm happy because I stick to my risk parameters and I won't let something run just because. And that's probably the only thing I did right today was to take these trades off when I recognized my setup was gone. Now, on SWHC, this was one of the ones on my watch. I had 3 or 4 that hit my scanner. The rest of one was a buyout or a merger. And of course, I had the Alaskan Air and Virgin Air merger or whatever. I had that on there, and I wasn't touching that. But and then there were a couple stocks that were good, but they were over $100, and I didn't have the buying power to trade them correctly, so I left them alone. SWAC was the only one that I had on watch, and my initial thought going into the open was a long, because you can see this level held and it was started trading above the VWAP. Now by 9 o'clock my watch list is set. I'm not adding anything to it. I'll take away if something does something crazy, but I won't add anything to it. So this started trading above VWAP, so automatically I'm thinking long. I'm thinking it'll push this level, come back and give me a test, and then possibly push up, or it may fail here at the 200. I'm not sure. Or if it opened, it may run to the 200. But if it did, I was looking to short it off of this. So I was either going to short it here or here, but I was willing to take it long, just because of how it looked pre-market. Well, at the open, it washed. So everything I had planned, that note card got folded up and thrown away pretty quick. This took out this whole range right here, this first candle. So that gave me some pause about taking my opening range breakdown. Because you've got this long candle here. I think the range, I can't even remember what the range on this thing was. But this area here, this is over $1. It's like $1.30. And it took that whole range up. So I was apprehensive about taking this on the opening range breakdown because I didn't know how much room this had. I thought it would get hung up here at 24. And even though this was a 50-cent move, this stock was jumping around so much, I didn't think I could catch it if it did just tap it and then start to turn around. So that was a mistake I made. Well, I can't say it was a mistake because I was reading the price action and I kind of kept myself from getting chopped out or chopped around. So I waited and I was looking for it here. I posted in chat, I was looking at it off this 23.59 level here. And a couple people didn't see it, or, I told you where I found it. And you could see it was breaching it, but it came right back and then it breached it again. It came right back, but then it kind of held this level, midday. So this was a significant level here. It just breached it and then reclaimed it, breached it and reclaimed it, and then it just kind of hung around it. But what I tried to do was catch it off of this here. This candle, this doji is perfect. It's what we look for. I had a longer tail to the bottom, which told me this thing took out some stop losses, and now it's going to start to run back up. So I went ahead and got long here. I confirmed it on the 2-minute. Look at this candle. So everything looked good. I went ahead and got in, and it did make a little move up. And I was sitting here with my finger on the trigger, ready to take half my position off. It was only 25 cents, but for some reason, I wouldn't do it, and that's my MO. When I get to a level that makes sense, take profit off. If it looks like it was slowing down or having trouble at 24, take half off. I was only in 1,000 shares because, I just don't have the buying power right now to go in like I want to. But taking 500 off here for 25 cents, is nothing to sneeze at. That's a good start to your day. $125 goes a long way when you're building your small account. But I didn't. I convinced myself not to. And then by the time I said I need to, it was in the 23.90s and it never came back and gave me a chance to click it. And I ended up taking it off here at 23, I think 76. I made 2 cents on the deal. That's crazy. It may not even, $20 may pay for commissions. That's about it. It was just a wash trade. But it kind of faked me out here. This really should have given me the move up to the VWAP. And it didn't. It just hung up here at 24 and then slammed it right back down. And I wasn't going to give it time to breach this level. It was coming down pretty good, so I went ahead and took it off. Now, had I got in closer to this, say if I got in at 23.60, this wouldn't have shaken me out. This really wouldn't have shaken me out because it would have closed here at 23.45. You're talking about 15 cents, and we got to run back up. So at least I would have gotten out at break even, or if I held it, I'd have got that 25 cents back. But at this time, it's right at the VWAP. So, I would have taken it off there. But that was just I can't say it's a mistake, maybe a missed opportunity, but you can't second guess yourself when you're reading price action that's jumping around. Because, even though this is just a wick, the price did fluctuate up here. And it did come up and try to test 23.65 again, which should have been another sign for me to short it, but I missed it and ended up not doing well here. So I'm okay with that. I kind of, stuck to what I do in terms of taking a trade off. It just looked bad. The price action looked so bad it didn't make any sense for me to allow it to test it. So, didn't really worry about that. The next trade I took, SKX. This was beautiful. This is exactly what we look for, when I'm looking for a later morning reversal. You've got all of these candles came down, and this is a steep fall off. So this is just stretching the rubber band tight. This isn't a gradual thing. This is moving down at a pretty good clip. So the first level I found was 2365. This was all I was interested in because I figured if it breached this, I don't care about anything else. This is where it was. After this is after 11, and I'm not trying to get in any trades after 11 o'clock, but too far after 11. Number one, that's where I go to lunch and I reset, and I try to keep to my same schedule every day. So I don't like to take trades where I'm hanging in it during my lunchtime. Now sometimes I do get stuck in trades and I have to hold it, or I may just watch it on my phone and have a hard stop so that I can get away, because I feel it's important for me to get away, in between sessions. But this is, what we look for. I had increasing volume. The RSI was down. This was below 10. I mean, this is exactly what we look for. I was looking for an explosive move off of this. And I waited for this candle to print. This confirmed that it was going to hold over that level. I got in and never did touch the 9. My first profit target was a 9 EMA. Never touched it. So this was the second stock in a row that never touched the 9 EMA. It never had any lift. And this should have had lift because we were still early, relatively early, had a lot of volume coming in. So I should have had a lot of buyers to buy this thing back up, at least to the 9. But I didn't. It went up. Never did give me a chance to take profits, because this time if it did hit something, I would have taken it. But it didn't. It turned around on me and I ended up stopping out. That was my $200 max loss. I'm in this trade 1,000 shares, and once I lose 20 cents, that's 200 bucks. So I was clicking it at 20 cents. I let one run last week for $300. I didn't need to lose that last 100 bucks. So in this case, when it hit my $200 max loss, I was out and in the store. And again, I wasn't really looking at it. Here it made a higher low, but it just hung around this level. And I knew this level was going to be significant. That's why I wanted to base my trade off of. And all it did was breach it, reclaim it, breach it, reclaim it. That's all it did. Never really got far away from it. So, that was another trade that just didn't follow through. Beautiful setup. You couldn't ask for anything better, but this was a stock that just didn't follow the plan and didn't follow the setup and had to walk away from it. BHI is another one that hit our scan that we were looking at, and this one failed just like all the rest. Here's a move I like. It slammed into resistance. This could have been a good top reversal. If it wasn't for this crazy candle here, this would have been nice. But it ran into this resistance. It sold off. I was looking for it to bounce off this. So it hit our scan. It breached this level. Then I started looking at 40.20, but it never made it down there. It kind of reclaimed this level again and just kind of consolidated on it until it decided to, fade a little bit late in the day. Just didn't do anything. And, once it got, after it, kind of waited for a while, it allowed the 9 moving average to come down. There's no range to make profit here. So it didn't make any sense for me to try to take this trade with the 9 moving average being here. That's my first target. So there was just no range or nothing here for me to make any money. And this didn't even touch it. As close as the 9 was to this price action, it never did touch the 9. Never did get a candle to touch the 9 until it started squeezing it against this resistance. Support. That's the only time it touched the 9. And when it's here, it's just really untradeable. You got the 20 here, which has been acting as solid resistance, before it even got to the VWAP. So was just nothing here. Nothing really shaped up for me today. It's just one of those things. Now if this happened every day for 3 weeks, then I would have to look at trying to adapt my strategy or putting it on the shelf until we can come back. Because you have traders sitting at these levels. You have traders sitting at all of these support and resistance levels from the daily. You also have traders sitting here at these moving averages. And when you hit these moving averages, you've got emotional sellers and you've got technical buyers when you run into this. Or you're going to have emotional buyers and technical sellers. Just depends on which way you're going. And you've got these hedge funds and people that have these computer algorithms. They're going to be based off these moving averages. And there's one that I learned about last week, the 5 moving average, that I'm going back and back testing for the last couple of weeks, to see if that's what's causing some of these trades to turn before it even gets to the 9. Just have to go back and look. But the key is we have to be patient and we have to let these trades work themselves out. You have to be smart in reading the price action. You have to be smart in all the decisions that you make. Because if you're not smart and you don't take profit when you can and you don't cut your losses when you're supposed to, this market can crush you. And especially for a new trader, it's even more difficult because you're concerned about your entry, whether this is where you should enter, and you're concerned about where you're going to exit. And sometimes you're not even concerned about an exit. You just want to get in a trade because you want to trade. And in this market, you get hurt. In a bull market and everything is running, you'd have to be brain dead to lose money. But in this type of market, you have to be patient, and you have to realize that even the good and most perfect setups may not have follow through. That's just the way it is. And I had a couple people ask me about my month, so I'm going to kind of go over it. March, it started out kind of slow. Thought it was going to end up like it was today. I thought March started out for me red like it did today, but it didn't. I had 2 good days, and then I had 2 red days in the middle of that week. And then I had that big swing trade that I think I got lucky on, because I think my next swing trade is not working well. So I may not be doing too well on this next swing trade. I'm still up on it, but I don't think I'm going to make the money that I wanted to make on it. But we'll see. It's still in play. The next week was a pretty slow week. I didn't have any $1,000 days at all. I had some decent losses in here that cut my profits. On this day, I didn't trade at all. Just sat on my hands, and again this Friday. So I ended up with $1,700 that week, which is good. It's not bad. Then the next week came in, and really nailed it that week. Had 77.56, and this week was a pretty slow week because we had um, the Friday holiday. Thursday, I think I was doing something. I had to go do something, and I didn't get to trade. So that was a pretty slow week. And last week had to have been one heck of a week because you started out Monday strong, nailed some good trades. When Tuesday was kind of rough. I think I had a big loss in there, a $300 loss or something. And then, Wednesday was awesome. And Thursday and Friday didn't really do anything. All Friday was me covering a position I held overnight. It's actually the stop that I was swinging. And, I was making some mistakes. I was trying to, for some reason, I was managing it as a day trade. I knew it was going to bounce. I knew it was going to retest. So I was shorting the bounce for the retest. And my idea was to flip it and go long, but I shouldn't have been holding overnight. I should have, taken it off at close or whatever, and then come back in the next day and then enter my swing. But that's something that I have to learn. But this month is deceptively large because we've got 5 full weeks in here. I've got the end of February the 29th in here, and I've got the first day of April in here. So even though this was a small day, it still kind of counts. That's 1,300 extra dollars in here that I normally wouldn't have. But for the month, 23,058.59, which is awesome. It was a solid month, and that's what caused me to go celebrate this weekend. I didn't do anything stocks related. We just went and celebrated and took that off. I had a good time. So that might be why today was just messed up. I was kind of hanging over from the weekend, but no big deal. We'll get back at it. So I'm pretty pumped. I mean, it was a good week. And then for the first quarter, January, February, and March, I'm over 50 grand. And that was another thing that, I wanted to go out and celebrate. So unless the bottom falls out and I have 3 months of days like today, I should hit my goal by the end of the summer. My 100K goal for this year by the end of the summer. So hopefully, everything holds together. We know trading is fickle. It can go one way or the other. So, we'll see what happens. I'll just keep studying, keep my head down and driving on. So I hope everybody had a great day today, a better day than me, or a lot better day than me. But I'm gonna go in here tonight, look at some charts, kind of see if I see anything that I'm missing, and just get ready for tomorrow. So I'll see everybody tomorrow in chat.